All right, welcome to Locked On Heat. This is one more thing presented by FanDuel. One thing we didn't get to in our last episode. There's another wrinkle to the Desmond Bane trade that we didn't get to yesterday. Here's the recap of the deal. Bane to the Magic for 4 first-round picks, Contavious Caldwell-Pope and Cole Anthony. David, I bring this up again because Bane and Tyler Herro play the same position, similar ages, 26 and 25. So I was wondering if the Bane trade set the market potentially for Tyler Herro in the case that the Heat ever considered trading him. I think that's a worthwhile question worth asking because this is how things get done, right? Mikal Bridges arguably set the market for the Desmond Bane trade. Did Bane just set the market for what a Tyler Herro trade could look like?
Yeah, I think so. I think you have to look at it in terms of how you view Tyler. But we just kind of had this discussion in our previous episode. I think Tyler is a player that's regarded highly around the league, and I think the fact that coaches see what he's capable of, I think they try. I mean, Bane was in the games where John Morant hasn't been available. Bane has really found a way to step up. I mean, when he's available as well, because there have been injury issues where both of them weren't on the court. But I think he showed that promise. I'd still put Tyler as a much better scorer, and I think that's something that's valued around the league. I think Bane is okay defender. I think he has his issues. I don't think he's as poor overall defensively as Tyler is. But if you're willing to give up 4 first-round picks for a guy like Desmond Bane, and you see him as a guy who can help boost your offense the way Orlando desperately needs him to, I can't. I think it shows that Tyler is something that Miami or someone that Miami isn't willing to part with. Because if you could find a way to acquire a guy, if you're really going and investing that much draft capital to acquire Desmond Bane, I can't imagine what the price for Tyler would be. I think it would be substantially higher. At least that's the way I see it. I
Higher
think
than for
like
Bane.
Orlando, yeah. I'm sorry?
Higher than what they got Bane for? For
Yeah,
4 first-round
so.
picks?
Yeah, absolutely. I think Tyler's a better player. And I think the league views him as a better player. I think if that's the case, I
think
can't
the
see.
view views them as similar enough players. The Ringer had Bane at 47. They had Tyler Herro ranked 51 in their top 100. And it feels like that's about
this season?
Right. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I don't know.
I mean, Desmond Bane is giving you stuff defensively that Tyler Herro can't do. Like, Bane's a better defender.
That's fine.
And so I just think that the fit is a lot easier for somebody like Bane than it might be for Tyler Herro. And he's also, a 41% three-point shooter. I think Tyler Herro is a better three-point shooter, even if you get away from the percentages. I think his range and the versatility that he has as a shooter and a scorer is better. But I'm surprised. I think a lot of people would say that you couldn't get that for Tyler Herro. And I would argue that you could. I think you could basically get the same return for Tyler Herro. That's sort of where I'm at.
3 days ago, I don't think you would have been able to get that for Desmond Bane either. I would have said that. I was like, Desmond Bane? Like, I mean, so
I think what this is here, this is the price of getting something that's not for sale.
That's fair.
And Tyler Herro is not for sale, right?
Right.
Desmond Bane I don't think Desmond Bane was for sale. He wasn't in trade rumors. We didn't hear anything. And Orlando just identified Desmond Bane as the perfect guy, right? They think that he's the fit, the guy that they need to complete this Paolo Banchero, Franz Wagner, Jalen Suggs lineup. And they called up Memphis and said, how much is it going to take? And they said, and by the way, it's basically 3 first-round picks for Desmond Bane and 1 first-round pick, I think at least. And it's like 1 first-round pick to get off of KCP in that contract. Could, hypothetically, the Heat get 3 or 4 first-round picks for Tyler Herro if they were to deal him somewhere? If there was a team out there that said, Tyler Herro is exactly what we need to take us to the next level, we don't mind overpaying maybe his next contract, just like Orlando, I think, is arguably overpaying Desmond Bane. Good players. How much are you willing to pay those guys in this new apron world? I think you could get 3 or 4 first-round picks for Tyler Herro.
For sure. Really, it might have to be the right team with the right situation, but I think that's kind of where Orlando sees themselves also. And, they've got enough young players there where they don't have to necessarily retool their roster so completely. Although, let's be honest, their depth just took a hit. 2 valuable rotation players, Cole Anthony and KCP, You don't value them? You don't think they're valued?
KCP was pretty bad. They're going to have to replace Cole Anthony. But they have all offseason to do it, right? You got to go get a 6-man type. Yeah, and like maybe it is worth exploring like what kind of team would trade 4 first-round picks for Tyler Hero. And if you're Miami, because Memphis, you have John Morant and you have Jaren Jackson Jr. That's who you're building around. So as good as Desmond Bane is to that group, and as important as he was, and he definitely was, he's more superfluous to Memphis than Tyler Hero is right now to Miami.
Oh, no doubt.
Like, Miami is treating Tyler Hero like they're John Morant. And it doesn't sound like Memphis, according to the reporting at least around that situation, doesn't sound like Memphis, they traded Desmond Bane. It doesn't mean that John Morant and Jaren Jackson are getting traded. They just traded Desmond Bane because they got 4 first-round picks, increased their financial flexibility to build around Morant and Jackson. So what would it take for Miami to actually trade Tyler Hero if Tyler Hero is not for sale? We'll talk about that here in a second. But first, today's One More Thing on Locked On Heat is brought to you by FanDuel. The NBA playoffs are in full swing. Every night delivers highlight-worthy performances, major momentum shifts, and can't-miss moments. Whether it's a game-winning shot or a breakout player, there's never been a better time to get in on the action. FanDuel makes it easy to stay in the game before tip-off and live. With player props, performance trends, and same-game parlays, fans have more ways than ever to play smart and win big. New to FanDuel? It's the perfect time to sign up. Head to FanDuel.com, place your first $5 bet, and if it wins, you'll get $200 in bonus bets. Make every moment more with FanDuel, official sports betting partner of the NBA. Let's say I'm a general manager. You're in charge of the Miami Heat. Congrats. You got your promotion.
Yes.
Ring, ring. Hey, Tyler Hero, what's it going to take? We've got this guy. We really need shooting around those two. We think Hero is one of the premier shooters in the league. I know he's got that extension coming up. I'm not sure where you stand on him. We'll take that off of your hands. You don't even have to worry about it. We've got 4 first-round picks. And maybe it's worth revisiting the Memphis deal here. One of them is the 2026 Phoenix pick. That could be very valuable depending on what happens with the Suns here. Other than that, these picks that Orlando sent Memphis, none of them are slam dunk picks, right? They're coming from Orlando, who are going to be, we assume, at least a playoff team for the next few years. So we're talking about middle to end of the first round, first. But 4 first-round picks nonetheless. So let's say that that's sort of what I'm offering you. Maybe there's one pick in there or a swap in there that feels like it has maybe some top 10-ish potential. What do you think about that? Are you willing to trade Tyler Hero for that?
Willing?
That's what it is.
I don't know. I get
you got to
that.
pull the trigger on it, right? It's got to be good enough for you to say, let's do it.
I don't know that Miami entertains those options right now.
I'm asking you.
Like,
you're in charge of Miami now.
I do it. No, ultimately I don't do it, but I think that's probably why I'm not a GM. Also, I just I have no desire to go through that process of rebuilding a team and having to restart it and hope that one of your picks makes it, or even if you get a middling player or a decent player with one of those picks and knowing that you're going to have to trade them down the line. I don't know. Maybe at heart I'm probably this fan base's worst enemy, because the idea of running it back is never that difficult for me to understand or to handle or accept. So I don't know. It's just I think Tyler's a really good player, and so I'd probably be unwilling to part with him, unless it's for a clear-cut superstar. That's the only times when I've been like, okay, I get it. Like, if you're gonna get X player,
right,
KD or Damian
A to
Lillard,
B, just an A to B upgrade. Right. None of this, because you could argue, hey, we got those 4 first-round picks. Now we can use all of that stuff to go get the player who's clearly superior to Tyler Hero.
Right.
But that's a risk, to your point.
Yeah. It feels like it would actually probably be pretty similar, maybe a little bit better, tweaked a little bit better in terms of like what Miami would want from what Orlando gave up to get Desmond Bane. Like, it'd have to be a wing player, a guy that they could kind of put in immediately, a backcourt guy in Cole Anthony, and then the picks that would kind of help put that over the edge there. But again, I think it'd have to be slightly better than the package that Orlando sent to Memphis.
What if I was able to get a 2027 first from Phoenix? Or like a pick like that, a pick that we know, that could be our golden ticket to like a top 5 type of pick. The one that I was wondering, and this might still be possible, let's say the Thunder lose in the finals, and they determine we pretty much have everything we need. We just don't have that elite shooter. We need somebody
Yeah.
to space the floor around Shea and Jalen Williams. Let's go get Tyler Herro. We have 100,000 first-round picks. Can we convince them with a first-round swap of the Clippers in 2027 that has top 5 protections? Or are you interested in a first-round pick, top 4 protected from Philadelphia in 2026? Is there a late Denver pick that you might be interested in? You know, they've got a bunch of these interesting picks. Can they throw enough of them together where there's enough top 10-ish potential there?
Yeah.
And maybe they throw Aaron Wiggins and Isaiah Joe back to salary match. You know, 2 bench players, but good bench players. So here's Isaiah Joe. Here's Aaron Wiggins. And 4 first-round picks. You're still asking for more firsts?
Instead? Could you make it Dort instead?
We'll make it Dort, but it's 3 first-round picks.
And a couple pick swaps, maybe. If that's the case, yeah, I could see that. If they're that high-level picks, I mean, not pick swaps necessarily, not with a team like Oklahoma City, but if you could find some way of getting that kind of draft capital, a good backcourt player that kind of fits your mode, I don't know. It's hard to see. It's hard to see whether or not Miami would accept a deal like that.
Yeah. It feels like it would have to be everything. It would have to be, to me, the Bridges offer. 5 firsts, right? Bridges went for 4 firsts and a pick swap. I think I have that right.
Yeah.
I think that's what it would take. Tyler Herro is not for sale. Here's 5 first-round picks. One of them might be the 5th pick in the draft in 2 years. Okay, fine. Right? It's the analogy again. Somebody, you have $1 million home. Somebody showed up and offered $2 million for it. You kind of have to say yes. You have to say, sorry, hey, honey, we're moving. Start packing stuff. They just offered us twice the value of this home. Yeah, interesting stuff. I think maybe some people would be shocked to even hear us talk about Tyler Herro and that. They're going to be, oh, you guys you're always so high on Tyler Herro. This is the market. The NBA, this is how it works. It's not about what you deserve or what you earn. It's about what you can leverage. And the Grizzlies were able to leverage. Nobody thinks that Desmond Bane is worth 4 first-round picks, but he wasn't for sale, and the Grizzlies were able to leverage 4 first-round picks out of it. I always thought it would just be I thought it would be an interesting thought exercise. So
no, I get it. I'm curious to hear what the fans think. I mean, again, you're probably right in that they'll be critical of our perspective on this, but I mean, he's Miami's most dependable, best player last year for all the value that we've talked about Bam and what we think of him personally. And Tyler was their best player last year, and he was an all-star. He was rewarded for it. Whether you believed he earned it or not, you're wrong. And he did earn it because he was nominated, and so he was an all-star last year. And that being the case, I think he's viewed as a much more valuable player. Does he have his worth? Sure, I get it. I understand why Heat fans are their perspective and why they feel disappointed and maybe where Tyler's ceiling is, but that's not to. You can accept those faults and also recognize what he does very well. Mm-hmm. And that being the case, that's a skilled player that is viewed highly around the league. So it's not something you wouldn't just trade him for peanuts. If you would,
he would be more valuable. Yeah, and he would be a lot more valuable to a team that does have a number 1 option, which is why we keep talking about Miami going and getting a number 1 option. So,
right.
Interesting stuff. That'll do it for us today. Thanks for making Locked On Heat your first listen. For your second listen, check out the Locked On NBA Big Board Show. NBA draft expert Rafael Barlow reacts to every workout, interview, and rumor leading up to the NBA draft. Find Locked On NBA Big Board on YouTube and wherever you listen to podcasts. Also, on the Locked On Heat feed, you will see the Locked On Podcast Network mock draft, where not only did we make a pick for Miami at 26 instead of 20, how did that happen? Why did we trade down? And how did we land Kevin Durant in the mock draft? You're going to have to check that out. You can do it on the Locked On Heat feed on YouTube and wherever you get your podcasts.